War is rarely won by brute strength alone. Throughout history, the greatest commanders didn't just face the enemy head-on. They found ways to go around, hit from the side, and break them from within. One tactic above all has stood the test of time: flanking. Flanking is simple in concept, but devastating in execution. It means attacking the enemy from the sides or rear, where they're exposed, disorganized, and vulnerable. While the front line is where most armies expect to take the hit, the flanks are often less defended, less prepared, and easier to exploit. And when done right, flanking doesn't just win battles, it shatters armies. Let's start with one of history's greatest tacticians, Alexander the Great. At the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC, Alexander faced a massive Persian army under King Darius III. He was outnumbered more than 2 to 1. A frontal assault would have been suicide. So Alexander used deception and precision. He extended his right flank, drawing the Persian cavalry out. When they committed to the attack, Alexander saw the opening. With his elite companion cavalry, he charged straight into the gap between the Persian front line and their reserves, flanking them, splitting them, and sending the center into chaos. The result? Darius fled. The Persian army collapsed. And Alexander won one of the most important battles in ancient history. Fast forward to Hannibal at the Battle of Cannae into 16 BC. Arguably one of the most famous flanking maneuvers ever executed. Facing a Roman army nearly twice the size of his own, Hannibal didn't just stand his ground. He invited the Romans to push forward. His center line gradually fell back, forming a crescent. The Romans thought they were winning, so they charged in deeper. But Hannibal's cavalry had already routed the Roman horsemen on both wings. They swung around, and along with infantry waiting on the sides, completely encircled the Roman force. It was more than a flank. It was a trap. Over 50,000 Roman soldiers were killed in a single day. It remains one of the most decisive tactical victories in military history. The power of flanking didn't end in the ancient world. In the Napoleonic Wars, Napoleon Bonaparte mastered the use of movement and surprise. He often used his speed and knowledge of terrain to outmaneuver enemy armies, force them to redeploy, and then strike from unexpected directions. At the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, he allowed the Allies to attack what seemed like a weak flank, only to counter with reinforcements and crush them while launching a powerful assault in the center. His ability to bend the battlefield to his will made him one of history's most feared generals. But flanking isn't just about horses and infantry anymore. With the invention of mechanized warfare, flanking became even faster and deadlier. In World War II, the Germans introduced a new form of combat known as blitzkrieg, or lightning war. The goal was to use tanks, motorized infantry, and air power to bypass enemy strongholds and attack from behind. Instead of fighting through enemy lines, they went around them. This method allowed Germany to sweep through Poland, France, and much of Western Europe in a matter of weeks. Their use of mobile flanking wasn't just a tactical decision. It was a strategic revolution. One of the best examples of large-scale flanking in the modern era came during the Gulf War in 1991. Coalition forces, led by the United States, faced a heavily entrenched Iraqi military in Kuwait. Rather than launch a frontal assault on fortified positions, the U.S. executed what became known as the left hook. Thousands of tanks and infantry moved hundreds of miles west through the desert, well beyond where Iraqi forces were expecting them. Once in position, they turned east, striking from the side and the rear. Iraqi forces were overwhelmed. What could have been a bloody battle of attrition turned into a swift and decisive victory. So why does flanking work so consistently across centuries and continents? First, it creates confusion. Armies are built to defend their front. When the enemy appears at the side or rear, it breaks the chain of command, disrupts communication, and causes panic. Second, it weakens morale. Soldiers who believe they are in control suddenly realize they are surrounded or outmaneuvered. Fear spreads fast on a battlefield. Third, flanking forces your opponent to divide their strength. They can't concentrate all their power in one direction. That gives you the advantage of local superiority, being stronger at the exact point of contact, even if you're outnumbered overall. Modern militaries still train for flanking operations. Armored divisions are taught how to bypass strong points. Special forces plan attacks based on enemy positioning and movement. Drones provide real-time intelligence, allowing commanders to spot weak flanks and exploit them within minutes. Even cyber warfare follows similar principles: penetrate defenses, bypass the firewall, and strike the network from within. And yet, flanking isn't just physical. It can be psychological, political, or digital. In warfare, the flanking tactic has evolved beyond the battlefield. Today, flanking can mean launching a disinformation campaign that distracts from a real operation. It can mean hitting supply chains, not soldiers, or even targeting infrastructure, power grids, communication networks, and satellites. All of it aims to catch the enemy off guard and collapse their ability to respond. But here's the truth. Flanking only works when it's done smart. If a commander moves too slowly, or the enemy sees it coming, the tactic can backfire. That's why the best flanking maneuvers rely on speed, timing, and intelligence. It's a dance of precision, not just force. So the next time you hear about a breakthrough in a modern conflict, look closer. It might not be brute strength that made it happen. It might be a perfectly executed move, slipping past the defenses, hitting from the side, and ending the battle before it ever really began. Because in the art of war, the side door is often more powerful than the front gate. If you enjoyed this breakdown of flanking tactics from ancient battlefields to modern wars, make sure to hit like, subscribe for more deep dives into military history, and let us know in the comments what tactic you'd like us to explore next.